Welcome back into the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey, producer Chris Daughtry behind the scenes for today's show as we get set up for the final live show until Monday Night Football between the Cowboys and the Bengals. So let's go back to this one. Who you got? C for the Cowboys, B for the Bengals. It is the pinned poll, by the way. Was at about 50% against the Commanders. Cowboys won that game. Was back up to 90% against the Giants. Currently at 70% against the Bengals, which is ironically about the flip difference between the actual spread involving the Cowboys. We'll talk about that later on in the show. Who you got? C or B? Peyton's got the Bengals winning. BRY Nation has his C in there. Chris Romero, Green, Caesar, Terry, Matthew, all typing in B's. Gil's got the Cowboys. Jerome has the Cowboys. JND88. I think the Bengals will blow us out 48-23 because of the Bengals offense. 48 points about what the Bengals have to do to win games as of late. That is as I've said on the show, and I will keep saying as I find it really funny, it's a crayon-eating defense over there in Cincinnati. Outside of Trey Hendrickson, who is doing his damnedest to prevent the kids from eating the crayons. Brokov says C. Brushmite says C. Stevens got a C. Kelly Turner, S.A. C.B. All say B. Brokov. The defense bad to let Rush drop 400. I think this is going to be a career game from Cooper Rush. The bar's not that high, and the Bengals defense is down here. I think it's very doable. Might not be enough to win, but I think it's very doable. B, which is getting a top 10 pick from Sack77. JND says if we do win, the score would be 38-34. Or your defense plays super well. Kind of like what the Eagles did. Eagles defense kind of shut down that Bengals offense enough to get the win. Although you're not the Eagles this year, unfortunately. Martin says C. Stevens got a C. KH have C. Jerome's got the defense winning it. Keep the votes coming. C for the Cowboys and B for the Bengals. I did my prediction earlier the week. I think the Bengals will win. I think that offense is too good, and I don't think your offense is good enough. And it hasn't worked out nearly as well as it should have, but I'm going to go with the better quarterback in this one. That's pretty clearly Joe Burrow, by the way. All right, today's show is made possible by Game Time. It is the place to get last-minute tickets to your next big event. Use the Game Time Picks feature. It filters out the fluff to only show you the incredible deals on great seats. Don't have to waste time searching through thousands of different tickets. It's curation designed to save you more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. You get a panoramic view in the seat before you buy, and the Game Time guarantee is this. You find tickets in the same section and row or for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Download the Game Time app today. Create your account. Use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. But again, create your account, redeem code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS for $20 off. With today's show also being made possible by Prize Picks. It is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. Download the app today. Use code CLNS over at prizepicks.com/CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Links in the comment section and the description of today's show. It's prizepicks.com/CLNS. As we broke down earlier today for you guys on the channel, Zack Martin's season is over, putting many a question about his future and his career in doubt for Dallas. I want you guys to show Zack Martin some love here. Spam 70 in the comment section. Obviously, Zack Martin's number. No doubt a future Hall of Famer, one of the best offensive linemen to ever play the game. Show Zack Martin some love. Spam 70 in the comment section as well. Brendan, Green, William, Brian, Cowboy Rob, Martin Martinez, all spamming their 70s. I greatly appreciate that. That's frustrating. This is a brand new thing that's got a tear in it. Cool. Spam those 70s. Peyton, S.A., Phillip, Mark. Keep them coming in the comment section. The Super Chat menu on today's show, $20 for a shot, $50 for the beer bong, and $500 a custom Cowboys jersey. Can wear it throughout the season. Don't think we'll be wearing, unfortunately, Anthony's this week, but you'll see why. There's a good reason. good reason for it. Although, if he puts in 100, I'll put it back on because I think it's fun that way. What is your confidence level in the Cowboys off season? 1 to 10. This upcoming off season, how confident are you in the Cowboys doing the things they need to do to have some success? It's a little bit dicey on that front. By the way, Lamb says he's going to play, by the way, KH. So I don't think we have to panic quite yet on that front, but says he's going to play. 3, -69. Nice. 4, 10, 7, 3, 7.5, 1, 5. Got a 10 in there from Brian Perry. There's a chance to do a lot of good things in the offseason. They have to be a little bit more willing to do things they haven't done in the past, though, to make that happen, which is concerning, if we're being honest. 1, 5, 4, 6, 2, -3.4, 6.9, which maybe is actually the right answer. Like, seriously, it might actually be 6.9 is maybe how we should be confident there. Josiah says 3.69. I get the low optimism. It's very valid and justified, frankly. They got to earn some goodwill back. Now, if you want us to start today's show, then like it. The goal was always a 50% like ratio. Right now, we're hovering in at not 100% like ratio. Help us out. It's free, simple, easy. Appreciate everyone who does it, who already has done it as well. Like the video right now. Coming up on today's live show, a little bit shorter, thanks to us doing the Zack Martin injury news earlier. We'll break down some Cowboys news and rumors, coaching staff, contract stuff, etc. A mailbag, 2 ways to get on the show. Get your questions in now via #Cowboys or skip the line altogether. Guarantee you get on via Super Chat. And we'll preview Cowboys Bengals on a Monday Night Football. It all gets started right now. Coming up on today's show, some comments made by Dak Prescott on his contract, how things could be impacted by the money he's making this upcoming year. Stefon Diggs, rumors being suggested once again, no surprise there. Couple different head coach ideas, ESPN involved on this one as well. Before we get to that, if you like the Cowboys Report, first off, thank you. Secondly, please like today's video. Simple, it's free, it's easy, helps us grow, continue to have success here on the Cowboys Report. So if you haven't already, please do us a favor, like today's show. As part of that same interview where he backed Mike McCarthy, Dak was asked about his contract and stuff, and he said it's not going to be an issue in adding pieces the Cowboys want to. Here's what Dak said. I don't think my contract is going to withhold us from making any moves, doing anything we need to do in free agency. If that big chess piece or big piece comes up, that will require that or does require that. The way that my contract is structured and the way I believe in this team, I don't think that would be a problem at all to move things around to make that happen. Now, I want to be very clear, despite what some major national outlets might tell you and the Jones Boys propaganda might tell you, Dak is 100% correct. Do not let the Jones Boys propaganda fool you. Don't let someone tell you, as Jerry said, that Dak and Lamb take up 70%. No, that is not how the math works. It's not even remotely how the math works, especially given how high these contracts are climbing, with the salary cap going to be well over $200 million, significantly over that. As of right now, Dak's contract is going to count just under $90 million. But here's the thing. It's not built to actually count that way. Once the Cowboys restructure that, and we'll get into that side of it in a minute here, that number drops down to $52 million. It's still a lot of money, but relative to how much the salary cap has grown, it's not actually that big of a percentage raise over what it's been in previous years. All of these contracts, these built-in restructures, as I call them, they're built into the contract. It's designed to be that way. It's the whole point of why you do the big signing bonus, the big base salary. You flip it and make the base salary lower to keep the cap in a good spot. It doesn't require anything special. The way the Cowboys built this deal, built the CeeDee Lamb deal, was to take that cap hit, get it down, easy. It is that simple. It is supposed to be this way. It is how they built the contract, going in knowing we're going to do this in year 2. It's just a timing thing. The Cowboys very easily can have $100 million in salary cap space to spend as they so choose, or close to it. They currently have, based on the over-the-cap projections, which does include rollover and stuff, about $23 million. You'll save, and I'll round down on some of these and even it out a little bit, $36 million by restructuring Dak Prescott, $20 million by restructuring CeeDee Lamb, $6 million by restructuring Trayvon Diggs, $14 million if they want to cut Terrence Steele. If they want to restructure him and keep him, it's $9 million. That's post-June 1st, pays your draft class. Cut your safeties if you want, $8 million. If you want to be proactive and extend Micah Parsons early, that's $15 million. It's actually way beyond $100 million. Way beyond it. Don't let anybody tell you that any contract on this team, any multitude of contracts, frankly, is preventing Dallas from being aggressive in free agency. They can. It's a question of whether or not they want to choose to do so. Now, do you want the Cowboys to actually be aggressive for once and spend some damn money? If you do, type me, especially at the pinned comment if the ad comes here on YouTube. Now, Mike Fisher over at Athlon Sports throwing out the idea of, well, if Dak says the contract's not going to be an issue, maybe they can go pursue Stefon Diggs. Can't say I'm surprised that this one's back. I thought we all knew this was going to come back. Really almost not fair, but when Stefon Diggs got hurt, I know many people thought, oh, that might open the door for a Diggs reunion with his brother in Dallas. Diggs' stock is down, especially after injury. It's not as high as it was at his absolute best. And if you get him on a cheaper one-year deal coming off the injury, the Cowboys love paying hurt guys, by the way. You can win the deal, right? Look at the value the Cowboys got, something that they love to try to do when they're making moves in free agency. Diggs was on pace for a good, not elite season, was going to be right around 1,000 yards before his injury, which was still valuable in the NFL. I don't think he's the same 2022 version. It might raise some concerns that the Bills' offense got better last year and also looked better after this season when the Bills kind of moved on from Stefon Diggs. But it does give you at least a potential legitimate number 2 wide receiver. I think there are some concerns there. I do worry about Diggs being a little, not diva-y for lack of a better word, but being the enemy speaks softly and carries a knife meme of the wide receivers, right? But he's better than Brandon Cooks. How much difference in contract cost is Cooks versus Diggs going to go for this year? And is that something that could be considered? So would you sign Stefon Diggs? S for sign, P for pass. Let me know in the comment section of today's show. Maybe we should have put a trigger warning on this one for some of you guys out there. ESPN listing and mentioning Kellen Moore as a possible head coach candidate, not just in the NFL, but specifically for the Dallas Cowboys. This is part of their ESPN Insider piece. So Dan Graziano writes the first part, and then Jeremy Fowler responds to it, so it's like a written conversation. Dan goes, let's say the Cowboys move on. Are you expecting Eagles offensive coordinator Kellen Moore to get a look there, or is that too obvious? Jeremy Fowler says Moore has helped himself while coaching the Eagles offense this season. I could see him getting a look in Dallas and other places. Okay, I think Kellen's done a fine job in Philly. There's plenty of talent there. It's his issue, I think, at times has been getting a proper ground game going, and Eagles had that mostly in place from a schematic standpoint, and then they plop Saquon Barkley in there, and good things tend to happen. The ties to Dallas, of course, are very obvious. An interview wouldn't be a surprise to me. In fact, actually does make some sense, if only to do the smart team thing, which Philadelphia once did to you with Kellen Moore, and interview him, even though you probably weren't going to hire him, just to get a feel for what that Eagles organization is being run on the inside like. That actually does offer some benefits, especially from a division rival standpoint. We'll talk more about Kellen and the Cowboys coaching search, but first, today's show is made possible by Game Time. Game Time has a new feature. It's called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to only show you incredible deals on great seats. Don't waste time to do all these different ticket options. Just get the best bang for your buck. It's curation designed to save even more on sports, but also concerts, comedy, theater, everything else in between, especially if maybe you don't want to go to a Cowboys game, which they're playing better, but I very much get it. The game time guarantee is this. You find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Download the Game Time app today. Create your account. Use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. But again, create your account. Redeem code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. Now, on this ESPN piece, I do want to mention a couple things that have got lost in translation at times there. Kellen was specifically mentioned for the Dallas Cowboys. That was, if you go back and read it closely, that was the only one that was mentioned for Dallas. And then they used Kellen to talk about other potential head coaches, and because it was right for the Cowboys sentence, that got grouped into one. Wasn't the intent of ESPN. So there were other young coaches mentioned, but that was more like Kellen's a young OC. Here are some other young offensive coordinators who are sleeper candidates. That then got tied to Dallas. It was Liam Cohen in Tampa, Drew Petting in Arizona. Names we've mentioned before on the show I do think are sleeper candidates. I don't know if Dallas would go down that path. I think they would rather have a former head coach, which I have issues with as just cutting off potential options for you. But these guys weren't actually specifically mentioned as sleeper candidates for Dallas. It was sleeper options for NFL at large. We got free Cowboys videos for you guys each and every single day. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/CowboysTV. Free videos. Don't miss out. Subscribe right now. Now, this one's interesting. Cowboys Wire mentioning, my boy Katie Drummond, mentioning the Niners head coach, Kyle Shanahan, as a potential Mike McCarthy replacement. Now, this comes on the heels of, it is Mike Florio, so we're going to asterisk that one. He has led the charge that the Chicago Bears should go trade for Shanahan, even though I think that might be a terrible fit. I think Shanahan's preferred quarterback style, and the best out of Caleb Williams is a really bad fit together, but I digress. The Niners have had a good year. There's no way around it. They've had a bunch of injuries. They've struggled. The offense doesn't look as good this year. Shanahan, though, specifically for Dallas, I love that idea. 69-58 in his career. He's made it to 2 Super Bowls, 4 NFC title games, and he kind of owns you as of late. Now, the issue you run into here, you probably have to trade for him. I'd be surprised, frankly, if the Niners went, yep, we're just going to outright fire Kyle Shanahan. That would be super weird. And that part creates various issues of what's the cost? Does it make sense? Would Jerry ever do it? They'd been linked to the Sean Payton trade. Would they do it for Shanahan? Is that a good idea even? In general, whether it's Shanahan or somebody else you covet, that's realistic, which doesn't bring up very many options. Maybe Kevin Stefanski? Maybe? Would you trade for a head coach? Y for yes, N for no. Go vote in the comments. A lot of it comes down to trade cost. I'll give my second. Can't draft for that spot anyway. I would wonder if the Niners want the John Gruden deal. Give us two first-round picks if you want to go down that route. It's all hypothetical anyway. I would be very surprised, and I think it would be pretty stupid of the 49ers to move on from Shanahan. Who's going to be their head coach? They don't really have a lot of options because that coaching tree has been pretty picked over. Going to rebuild without a guy that's had a lot of success and has had one down year in large part because of injuries. I just think it's a bad idea. It's mailbag time here on the Cowboys Report. There are 2 ways to get on the show. Number 1, #Cowboys, or like Lenny, Dwayne, and Zach have Super Chats already in. We will get to all of those on the mailbag, so get your questions in right now. #Cowboys. Appreciate those Super Chats from Dwayne, Lenny, and Zach Crosby as well. Appreciate that, fellas. Get those questions in. Reminder of the Super Chat menu as well. $20 for a shot, $50 for the beer bong, and $500 for the custom Cowboys jersey. As one more reminder, got to use that #Cowboys, if not a Super Chat. Otherwise, producer Chris cannot find your questions. It just all gets buried and lost in the sauce. So if you have questions, comments, thoughts, concerns, general things you want to vent about with the way the season's gone, I'm all for it. Get those questions and comments in right now. We got a super thanks, again, to begin today's mailbag from Mighty Ants. What happened to No Forbes? Or what happened to No Forbes? This is about Emmanuel Forbes. Did mention it briefly on videos at the back end of it, though, because it happened kind of late in the day. The Cowboys, after the Commanders cut him, did not claim Emmanuel Forbes. The Rams did instead. They didn't claim Israel Abanikanda. I would have liked to seen Dallas try more things at both those spots. Those are former talented players. Didn't go down the route. They like their guys, I guess. C.J. DeYoung III. Mike staying. Watch. Hope not. I don't want him back. I think Mike got dealt a bad hand. I don't think he's been good enough, though. I'm not saying he's a bottom 5 NFL head coach. I don't think that he is, frankly. But it's just not good enough. Expectations are high. The bar is high. Yeah, the grass can always be greener. Doesn't really matter if your grass isn't green enough as it is. Right? These both came in via Super Thanks. It's featured here on YouTube. We got the Super Chat on the live show. Super Thanks is the on-demand version. Edit your message. Send in whatever you want to send in. Simply click that thanks icon right now. We appreciate your support here at the Cowboys Report. Even if it's Tom, you suck, we will get your questions and answers on the show. Dallas Fanatic, more realistic target, Ben Johnson or Mike Vrabel? From a realistic-only perspective, I think it's easily Mike Vrabel. That's not that's who I want. I would love to get Ben Johnson. I want the innovative young offensive coach who does a lot of fun stuff. Now, OCing and head coaching are different jobs, and sometimes a good coordinator is a bad head coach, and even vice versa sometimes. Like Mike Vrabel's barely been a coordinator. It was 1 year, and it wasn't that good, but everyone loved the vibes of him, and it worked out pretty well for a little bit in Tennessee. I think Mike Vrabel checks off the box of former head coach. I think that the Jones boys want, has a relationship that's built in with Stephen Jones. You'd have to figure out the OC. That hire is almost just as important now as the head coach. But I think Mike Vrabel is much more realistic than Ben Johnson, especially if Ben Johnson's alleged $15 million demands are accurate. That's like triple what Mike McCarthy's making. And Jerry says money's no object, but that's not how he pays his coaches in years past. So who do you want as the next Cowboys head coach? Realistic or otherwise? Don't put Andy Reid, but so I guess like somewhat realistic maybe. Who do you want as that head coach? The pinned comment on today's show. If that ad comes on YouTube, great. Take advantage of it. Head down there. Drop that coach's name. Zach Crosby, can you please explain to the mouth-breathing Dak haters why he had to be extended and that it was the best choice due to the penalty if he walked? I swear people think great QBs grow on trees. I will recap what I had said for months going into this offseason. You needed to make a decision. Your choices were let Dak walk, bottom out, be bad, and try to find the new quarterback. And you probably want to be aggressive, get a top 5 pick, top 3 pick, whatever, see what happens. You probably had missed that window because you didn't trade him or work on a trade when you had the opportunity and maximize the asset. Hell, I had even said you just should have cut him and moved on and truly tanked properly. Or you pay him and you try to win games now and do your reset later. If your argument is Dak's a good quarterback, he's top 10, I think with the way this roster is built, the way it's set up, the way they spend money, you got to find that rare top 5 guy. I think it's a fine argument, actually. If the argument is Dak's terrible, he's bad, you're just wrong. There's in-betweens in those conversations that I think are very valid and worth having. But he is a top 10 quarterback. As disappointing as it was, people have tried to claim he was playing the same way last year. He clearly wasn't. That was the issue for a good portion of the season. You get a better play caller in here, I think you're in a much better shape, which I see people argue, well, Mike can come back if he brings a new OC. Then why am I keeping Mike McCarthy then? That defeats the purpose of me. If you have an offensive coach who you don't trust to run your offense, that just means you don't trust the coach in the end. So if you want more from Dak this season, hell yeah, you're absolutely right. You think Dak is a bad quarterback, or as I keep seeing in the comments, he's trash? No, you're wrong. It's more in the middle, guys. Today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. It is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You simply pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. They added to the flex play, which means you can still cash out even if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. I'm doing the flex play on this little 3-man Prize Picks slate. CeeDee Lamb more than receiving yards. Sounds like he's going to go. Fingers crossed. More than Rico Dowdle rushing yards, and maybe Chase Brown will get going as well. I'm a little bit anxious about that one, but my boy Jack Lottery suggested it. He's been hot. I'm going to trust him. Go download the Prize Picks app over at prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly when you play 5. You don't even need to win. The $50 bonus, it is guaranteed once you play your first $5 lineup. It's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS. Lenny V23. Cowboys need to draft a dual card from Penn State. Great way to boost your defense to the next level. 2 elite passers along with 2 elite corners. I don't disagree. I think you've got your eyes on a great prospect. That's Abdul Carter, who I think has had a really nice step forward the past couple weeks. My concern here is unless you can get top 7, and even then it might be more like top 5 with the way this class breaks down, I don't think you're going to be able to get Abdul Carter. The growth I've seen the back half of the season that I was hoping we were going to get, I think it's shown up on the film too. He's got 10 sacks now this season. Like he's really gotten going in all the ways you wanted him to get going. I just think with the way he's going to test, he's going to test so well. We know it. He's got 6 sacks in his past 5 games. Like I think he's going to go earlier than where you're going to be drafting in the end. From Chrissy Alshon, trade for Debo in the offseason. No. Debo hasn't looked very good. Have you guys noticed that? He looks kind of not the same player he was in his prime. Maybe it's just the injury. He's been a bit banged up as well. He might get cut in San Francisco. Now, if they cut him and he's cheap, we can have that conversation. But I don't want to trade for the contract involving Debo at the moment. When it comes to the Cowboys offseason in general, what is your confidence level in Dallas having success and doing the things they need to do to be a competitor? Let me know in the comments section. 1 to 10 is your scale. Dwayne Jackson, Tom, is it helping or hurting the Cowboys if they want to get a top 10 pick if they keep winning? Well, if they keep winning, it's obviously hurting them. I think there is the ability to have a middle ground, which I know is not as much fun as the strong opinions one way or the other, of you don't want to get your ass kicked every single game and get embarrassed and lose everything and enter the offseason of we're just a bad team and there's no confidence and you kind of get some loser mentality built in there, right? Now, I also don't want to, in a wasted season where you're not going to do anything in the playoffs, you're going to make it anyway, win 9 games. I don't want to do that either because that hurts you long term. Find that middle ground. That's why in the end, just be a chill guy. Let things play out. Let's see how it goes. Steven, are there any former Cowboys that's not in the Hall of Fame that you think should be? Mine's Ed. I assume you mean Ed Too Tall Jones. Look, mine is Darren Woodson. I think I think it's a little bit ridiculous he's not in the Hall of Fame. I don't want to cite anybody else involved there. Ed had a great career for the Cowboys all those years ago. The 2 stints, I guess, he typically had there. I think he had a boxing career, if I want to. All right, either way, it doesn't really matter. I think Darren Woodson needs to be in the Hall of Fame, and the sooner the better for him. I think it's overdue. Many names you can certainly put in there, though, too. Now, we got more Cowboys videos for you guys each and every single day here on the channel. Sub for more free Cowboys videos then. Tyler, I assume you mean Jalen Walker out of Georgia, the edge linebacker. Mason Graham, Michigan defense tackle, and Boise State running back Ashton Genty are all there. Who do you draft? I would lean towards the DT since the running back class is very deep this year. I think you make an argument for all 3 guys. I do want to make that clear. Maybe it depends on how you approach free agency. If you spend big money or add players one of the spots, maybe you don't go down that route. I'd probably give the slight edge. You guys aren't going to like it to Mason Graham. Premium position, and I think also a very premium player, just like Genty is. Probably have Genty hit a Walker on my final board, by the way. So I'd probably go Graham, Genty, Walker. Different players, obviously, all good picks. I wouldn't be mad at either of those guys, unless you're picking 3, maybe a different competition of who you're picking there. But if you're picking where you're at 13, those guys are there. I don't see a bad pick there. From Harry, we need to keep feeding Dowdle against this Bengals defense. Get the ball in Turpin's hands when they can, because let's be honest, the guy's a big play waiting to happen. Hope they keep feeding Rico Dowdle. This Bengals defense is bad. They are very bad. This is a defense that allowed 270-plus yards after the catch by the Pittsburgh Steelers last week. That is the most of any NFL team this season. So the Cowboys' plan of runs with Rico, short, quick passing game, actually could work pretty well against Cincinnati. From Randall, I think Dak was trying to be nice to McCarthy with his comments. I assume you mean the stuff about on his own terms and whatnot. Not a bad theory. Couple different theories, taking a shot at Jerry Jones a little bit there. I don't disagree. I could also see a Pontius Pilate scenario where Dak knows how this is going and he makes it clear that this is not my decision. I am the quarterback. I like Mike. I'm not, because there has been, and there is for a lot of players and coaches, there's been some friction at times between the quarterback and head coach. I mean, you had Dak and Lamb and others go to Mike in the bye last week and get him to change the offense a little bit, and it worked. I think it's in a better spot than it was at points. There was the comment made by McCarthy last year where he's like, yeah, we sat down and watched all the interceptions that went through them, and then Dak was kind of like, yeah, that's how the conversation went because they'll never admit it publicly, but those interceptions from that year were not on the quarterback, and they were on players who were still on the roster, and they want to throw them under the bus and issues at times there. I don't mind that theory. Dak plays the Game of Thrones that you have to play in the Cowboys organization pretty decently. I could very much see I know how this is going. I'm going to take the high road beat and try to offer some support for Mike. So what is the percent chance, in general, I think the answer is low still, that you think Mike McCarthy is back in 2025? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. No snafus from, I don't know why I said from, just hashtag Cowboys. Or there's a growing number of CFB coaches getting sick of the NIL and transfer portal games. Which CFB coach would like to see the Cowboys interview? Dan Lanning? Here's my issue. A lot of these college coaches make more than NFL head coaches, which is like, okay, what are we doing? A lot of the best college coaches are good college coaches because they play the NIL and transfer game. The game has changed in college football. It used to be the best coaches, like Nick Saban, for example, they knew how to adjust and ebb and flow and stay up to date in the times with the X's and O's. Think about how much Nick Saban changed his offenses in college, or changed his offense in college football from that ground and pound, joyless murder ball stuff for you, Chris, to like Lane Kiffin, Steve Sarkisian aerial attacks. The game has changed now, not just with staying updated with the X's and O's, but also with how you recruit, coach, and manage the Jimmies and Joes too. I think Dan Lanning does a great job. I think Lanning could be a great college or a great NFL head coach. But like Brian Kelly going to complain about the NIL game when he did that to go to LSU. I don't want him as my NFL head coach. There aren't that many very appealing college football candidates I think make sense to the NFL. I don't think I don't think there's very many options that I'm intrigued by there. TKG, not a Cowboys question, but who is your Super Bowl matchup you want and think? Mine is Bills-Lions. I think Bills-Lions is fun. I think the Chiefs' voodoo magic will never die, so I'm worried about that one. Not the Niners, not the Packers. I guess Lions in the NFC isn't a bad thing, but I don't have any firm opinions either way or the other there. Dwayne Jackson. Tom, do you think Lance will get at least one start by season's end? I will change my mind if they beat the Bengals. I think yes. I think even if it's just week 18, I think you see Trey Lance get a start this season. The Super Chat menu on today's show, $20 for a shot, $50 for the beer bong, and $500 for a custom Cowboys jersey. If you haven't been paying attention to the NFL news today, Zack Martin undergoing season-ending ankle surgery. That's going to end his season and, unfortunately, potentially his career as well. That's not set in stone. Zach didn't want to talk about retirement yet, but that was under consideration. That was a plan. The way the contract's set up, that's an option, a very easy option to happen. Kind of almost built to retire at the end of this year. So I think, unfortunately, there's a real chance that it's the end of the line for for Zack Martin, which sucks because it's not fair. This is the way it ends with the level of play for both him, the injuries, and the team itself. That's not. You're about to have really Zack Martin and Tyron Smith both kind of go out with injuries, and that's not ever how you want those guys in. Obviously, Tyron with the Jets, but it's not how you want it to go in the end. So get those 70s in. Show Zack Martin some love for me in the comment section of today's show. Let's preview Bengals versus Cowboys. Now, we're doing this on our Thursday live show in time for the Monday Night Football game. No injury stuff we'll talk about because I don't want stuff to get outdated. But I do know this is a safe space for you to comment. Do you want to win this game? 5-7, you're kind of sort of alive in the playoff hunt still. You need a ton of help. You're going to be at least 2 games down no matter what exiting this week. Do you want to beat the Bengals? Y for yes, N for no. Sound off for me in the comment section of today's show. Let's talk matchups to watch. And number 1 for me is Chuma Edoga, who seems primed to start at left tackle per Calvin Watkins and others against Henderson. Now, Henderson doesn't really move around much. He lines up on the right side of the defense, left side of the offensive line, which means he gets the Cowboys' worst offensive lineman, and he will go against Edoga, and Hendrickson is like the one reliable, healthy, good player on this defense. That is the one guy who makes plays. He consistently gets pressure. He carries this team on defense. If the Bengals were at 500, Hendrickson would be in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation. Joe Burrow would be in the MVP conversation as well. Hendrickson against Chuma Edoga is not a matchup I like. It worries me. It scares me. I hope they chip and double team Hendrickson every single snap, because there's no reason with the lack of talent the Bengals have up front otherwise to let it be a one-on-one matchup almost at all in this game. Number 2, we didn't mention it on our previous preview, run defense against Chase Brown. The Cowboys defense, the last month, the last 4 games, what I'm saying basically, has been much improved. They are 10th in EPA per play, 12th in success rate. Now, they are 31st in rush EPA per play. Now, the reason why that's so high, couple big chunk runs, couple quarterback scrambles, the Joe Mixon run, you take away the quarterback scrambles, Joe Mixon, isn't fair, the one Joe Mixon run against running backs only. Bengals are averaging about league average yards per carry. Take away the giant Joe Mixon run, it's 3.75 yards per carry. They've actually been very good, but they're 13th in success rate. This has been a fringe top 10 defense the past month. Now, competition, etc., but it includes some blowout games at the hands of Houston and Philadelphia. Chase Brown has offered a bit more explosive plays for Cincinnati. Now, the Bengals' offense in general has been an aerial attack unit because, of course, it has been. It's Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. But they have given the ball to Chase Brown a bit more. He's been basically the only back since the Zach Moss injury. He will be involved in this game. All right, matchup to watch, the third. Tackling against playmakers. This goes both ways, by the way. This goes for both the Bengals tackling and the Cowboys tackling. Both of these teams don't tackle well. They are near the bottom in yards after catch and yards after contact in both receiving and running. They miss a lot of tackles. The Steelers last week against Cincinnati had 271 yards after catch. That is the most of any NFL team in any game this season. It's insane to think about. I mean, Cooper Rush those for 271. It's a career high, I think, or at least close to it. Probably would be the best game ever. Like, got to tackle well in this game. Team that doesn't tackle against Jamar Chase, because that guy makes every first player miss, I swear. It's a key part of the matchup. What is your confidence level in the Cowboys beating the Bengals this week? Scale it from 1 to 10. 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end. Number 4, it's Mike McCarthy, the Cowboys play caller, head coach, against Lou Anarumo. Both coaches embattled right now. Very much on the hot seat as well. The Cowboys offense, since Cooper Rush has taken over, the 4 games he's started, the points scored can be a bit deceptive since you've had 21 from special teams to defense the past 2 games. It's not good. They are dead last in expected points added with Cooper Rush, 28th in success rate. You got one of the NFL's worst passing offenses. The success rate on the ground is quite high, but the EPA has not been particularly good. The last 2 weeks on offense, a little bit better passing results, but overall not particularly good. The reality is this offense with Cooper Rush, and it's been this way in all of his starts, he has yet to have more than 2 touchdowns on offense with him in charge. They get points elsewhere, which is awesome, but it's been game manager, bus driver stuff. It hasn't been a very good offense with Cooper Rush. Here's the thing. I think it is perfectly reasonable, and I expect it, for Cooper Rush to have the best game of his career. The Bengals defense that they are facing this Monday Night Football is bad. This defense can't do anything. They can't move. They can't stop anything. They don't get pressure. They can't stop the run. They can't stop the pass. They don't get sacks. Cooper Rush should have a great game. Career day. His career passing yards, I think, was the 354 against Houston, but he also wasn't good that game. He can throw for 280 with 2 TDs and no interceptions, I think, pretty easily. That might not be enough against the Bengals offense, but the expectations are going to be higher for me. They're going to be much higher. Today's show is made possible by Game Time. You want to go to this game? It's a Game Time app. It's a new feature. Makes tickets to your favorite teams play live even easier. It filters out the fluff. Game Time Picks feature does to only show you incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of different tickets. Check out the seat view, panoramic view from your seat. Always important, Jerry World, and sometimes you can even not give me an issue for Monday Night Football, but make sure maybe that sun isn't in your way either. The Game Time guarantee is this: you buy tickets on the Game Time app, you find them, same section and row for less. Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. It is the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So what are you waiting for? Download the Game Time app, create your account, use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. But again, create your account, redeem code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. We'll stick with the coaches and play callers here. Mike Zimmer against Zack Taylor. Now, I will make note, in many ways, the Bengals and Cowboys they're mere images of teams. They got some similar issues, similar strengths, similar cash spending, money woes, which is kind of embarrassing for Dallas. Cowboys defense is much better than the Bengals defense. Bengals offense, much better, even though at times I think Mike McCarthy and Zack Taylor are very similar coaches. Again, the Cowboys defense past month has been a good pass defense. Now, the Giants, they've played. The Eagles had some mistakes. Texans have not been a very good offense. The Commanders were not good in that game either. Bengals offense is really freaking good. Like, this is a fantastic elite unit. Don't worry too much about the 2022 game those two teams played. The September Bengals, they're bad. The defense looks like September Bengals. Bengals offense is on fire. This is a really good test to see what Mike Zimmer can do. Of the two head coaches in this game, who do you think is better? MM for Mike McCarthy or ZT for Zack Taylor? Number 5, let's go players to watch here. Carl Lawson. I put him on this list. It's a revenge game. That's what this is. This is a former Bengal player who they kind of didn't want to bring back. It's a chance to go up against his own team. I am excited to see if Lawson can have some more success. He's been pretty good the past few weeks. He's made some more impacts. I am excited to see how this plays out. But I think I put Lawson on here over guys like, maybe a Micah Parsons, because it's a revenge game, and revenge games are always fun. Number 4, Kavontae Turpin. Can I get him the ball some more? It's fun. He's electric. I think you have to scheme for him. I think he is a gadgety player. I don't think he's a true receiver. You should stop using him on go balls downfield. I would like one time, can I run mesh with Kavontae Turpin and CeeDee Lamb? If I were the Cowboys, I would be spamming mesh this week. It's a simple, easy play call. Gets your guys in space on the run. Gets them moving with the football in their hands. The Bengals can't tackle. Like, I would just absolutely go down the short passing game. Let's get stuff going. Let's get stuff involved with Kavontae Turpin. So, you got to scheme for him a little bit, but I think you should find a way to make that happen. Prediction time. Who do you think scores the first touchdown in this game for the Dallas Cowboys? Let me know in the comment section of today's show. Number 3, the interior defensive line. This Bengals interior O-line, they're not going to have Orlando Brown, so Cody Ford's back out there at left tackle. I feel like Hendrickson and Micah might both be in for a sack fest. You're going to have Cordell Volson, who got benched last week at left guard. Ted Karras, Alex Kappa. It's not a good interior offensive line. Cowboys D-line needs to be great. Oso Odigizua has played very well the past 2 weeks. Past 3-4 weeks, actually. Keep it going. Mozzie Smith, last month, has played well. Much, much better than previous weeks. Got to keep it going. Got to keep stacking those good games. Now, we will be live for Cowboys-Bengals Monday Night Football. Our stream will start at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for the 8:15 kick. Hit that sub button so you don't miss out. Number 2 player to watch, DaRon Bland. You've been banged up at corner a lot this year. Bland's finally healthy. I've been waiting for my pick 6 king to get a pick. Might not come this week. Bengals have 2 of the best receivers in the NFL, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. I kind of actually like Diggs' fit if healthy against Higgins and Bland on Chase. We'll see how they play it, but you're going to need big games from your corners, and they got to tackle well. Jamar Chase makes guys miss constantly. They have to tackle better than what they have in previous weeks, or it's going to be ugly. Number 1, though, it's the quarterback. Look, you can win this game. Your defense is playing more than well enough to give you a chance to win. Frankly, every single game since Micah Parsons came back, this defense has played well enough to win. The offense and the quarterback hasn't always. They haven't. We heard those EPA stats. This is not good quarterback play. I'm sorry. This is a little more than 4 starts worth, it's like 4.5 basically, of snaps for Cooper Rush. This is not good. It's not. You need to be better. They've not been great on third downs. They've had drives stalled in the red zone. That was true without Rush too, but he's the quarterback right now. This is a bad defense. He needs to be able to make some plays if the Cowboys are going to win this game. So who you got? C for the Cowboys, B for the Bengals. Let me know in the comment section of today's show. Some super chats we will get to here in just a minute. C for the Cowboys, B for the Bengals. Let me know right now. Taz asking who's buying the Hawk Tua coin in the comments. That is just financial Darwinism. That's all that is. It was a pump and dump. That's all it was. It was we're gonna inflate the coin. Suckers will buy it. We'll sell and make money. And even if they didn't benefit from it, somebody did. Because why would you buy that? Why would you ever? Someone just said buy the dip, boys. No, we're not doing that. Dogecoin will buy the dip. You're buying meme coins. Like, come on. You bought a meme coin of a person who is social media famous for spitting on that thing. Like, come on. What'd you expect was going to happen? That is financial Darwinism. If you lost your money, that's on you, dog. Like, that should even be illegal. Like, there should be a threshold of, like, you know what? The reasonable person would have known that was a stupid idea. That's on you. That's my mindset. Drew DTX, thoughts on Dak doubling down on Mike McCarthy, but on MM's own terms. I think there's something slightly cryptic there. I just paint M. I didn't see him double down. I just saw the initial comments. Look, I think there's a couple of things that I think are worth like theories, right? I think it's Dak taking a little bit of a shot at Jerry Jones. Like, oh yeah. Because look, Jerry Tom definitely got rugged. No, I didn't. You think I'm wasting my money on that shit? I don't do my investments. I can't handle it. It's too stressful. I hate it. I let my wife do it all. She's in charge. I'll spend a lot of time on this, so just bear with me here. Mike has not had full control. And whether Jerry or Dak meant to or not, he is alluding to, or it's allowed to be interpreted this way, as there have been times where, you know what? Yeah, Mike wanted to bring back Joe Philbin. This could be as simple as the own terms is Mike gets to choose his damn coaching staff. He didn't get to. He was told, I'm not bringing back Joe Philbin. I think to an extent there was some, oh, you want to get rid of Kellen Moore? That's my guy from Jerry. I'm getting rid of your guy and Joe Philbin. Because Mike wanted Joe to stay. Didn't happen that way. Argue if it was good or not. Same time, his own terms was Mike Nolan as the defensive coordinator. And that sucked. Jones boys pushed Dan Quinn. Worked out pretty well. They pushed Mike Zimmer. Worked out fine. Both better than Dan Quinn. So own terms can mean, the coaching staff stuff. I think the reality, I would not be surprised if it comes out once Mike is gone, he never wanted Ezekiel Elliott on this team. He didn't want to start Zeke Elliott either. I don't think that he did. And his users kind of made that pretty clear. You got your owner undercutting the discipline as well with Zeke. Like it's not a good thing. Own terms might be as simple as being able to operate the team the way you want to, knowing you're fighting for your lives. Like Tyler Smith got more leeway than Tyler Guyton did, but Mike wasn't about to get fired there. So maybe a little bit different on that front. It could be Dak sees the writing on the wall. Mike's not coming back. I'm not, this blood's not on my hands. I wet my hands of this. It's not my fault. I like Mike. I support him, but I'm not coming out there and saying, I want him gone, because can't do that at this point. But yeah, look, Dak, if you're the Cowboys head coach, if you're the Cowboys quarterback, Cowboys de facto GM Will McClay, it's not fair. You have to kind of play the Game of Thrones a little bit, which is stupid. It's not football stuff that I want to be talking about. But you got to handle it all properly. You got to get up there and fall on the sword a bunch for what your ownership did, what your receiver did, what you did at times too, of course. Got to take those arrows. And you got to play the media properly. I think Dak mostly does a good job of that. Mostly. CJ DeYoung. Bengals have been losing games by less than a TD. You think win a team against that? Delusional. I don't think you're going to win. The Bengals are 1-7 this year in scores decided by 8 points or less. You know how hard that is to do? How hard that is? Legitimately, the Bengals truly are 5 plays away. Not even 5. Like, it's from being right in the middle of this playoff mix. Like, I think the Bengals' losses, they have a worse record than you. I'm not surprised they're 5.5-point favorites. They lost by 6 against New England. You lose on a questionable PI call against the Chiefs. You lose by 1. Commanders, defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. You botched the overtime loss against the Ravens. You botched the end of game scenario against the Ravens again. You botch it against the Chargers with missed kicks. Truly, those are 4 games that should have gone the other way, and now we're talking about an 8-4 Bengals team coming to town. It's going to blow you out by 15 or 20. It's the same team. They've had a couple bounces go against them. Cowboys have not been that type of team this year. You're right. I mean, think about their losses, right? You get your ass kicked by the Saints. You almost make a miracle rally against the Baltimore Ravens. Get your ass kicked by the Detroit Lions. The Niners game wasn't ever really in your control. Falcons game was kind of a little late comeback. You didn't play very well. Asses kicked by Houston and Philadelphia. Cowboys in 1-score games this year. The record says they're okay because they've made some garbage time comebacks. Commanders killing a 1-score game too, which is kind of funny. But I think the Bengals are right to be favored against you. Burrow's up a full go. I think he's going to win. Vanquish time. I think Bland gets pick 6. I think if the Cowboys want to win this game, they're going to need something like that. They're going to need a defensive score. I think it's really tough to expect the way that this offense is playing. I think it's really tough to expect them to be able to make this run where they can just kind of do it all by themselves and carry the team and even against a bad defense, I just find that a little bit unlikely. Just a little bit unlikely to be able to pull off. I'm looking back at like the game logs from over the years for Cooper Rush, and in both wins this year, the defense special teams has scored a touchdown for you. But he still has yet to hit this point, which is kind of insane to think about. He's yet to have more than 2 touchdowns when he's the starting quarterback, that's not sustainable win results. That the offense can't score more than 2 scores but by themselves, 2 touchdowns by themselves. That's not going to win against the Bengals. I don't think so. Unless your defense can play out of their minds. I'm reminded of that Rams game. Remember that Rams game against the Cowboys where Rush was 10 of 16 for 102 yards and they won by 12? Because they had the fumble return. They just destroyed them. They had a 57-yard score by Pollard. It was just like, I think your defense has played really well. I think that's the only way you're going to be able to win. If the defense doesn't play great football, the offense doesn't win games with Cooper Rush. They're allowing like 16 points per game on defense when Rush starts, which is it's great defense. You're not going to limit the Bengals to 16 points, I don't think. The Great Duke bothers. Does Turpin return next year? I think so. I'd be surprised if he didn't. He's a valuable returner. It's not going to be crazy expensive contract. I think he'll always appreciate the fact that Dallas gave him the first shot. Maybe someone throws a big bag at him. I kind of doubt that. But I would bet Turpin's back next year. We'll be live for the Cowboys-Bengals Monday Night Football matchup. Don't miss out. Hit that sub button for me right now.